The National Electrical Code, or NEC, does not explicitly address the cable type FPLR directly. However, according to NEC section 800.179 subsection B, the installation of cables that meet the requirements of Article 760 and are listed as fire alarm cables and cable trays is permitted. NEC section 760.160 requires fire alarm cables to be listed as either FPL or FPLP. Therefore, assuming that FPLR is a typographical error and the cable is actually listed as either FPL or FPLP, it is permissible to install this cable in cable trays for horizontal runs, provided that the cable is secured in place per NEC section 392.13. Additional considerations should be taken into account. NEC section 760.160 also requires fire alarm cables to be installed in a manner that minimizes the possibility of damage. NEC section 336.10 subsection 2 requires cables and cable trays to be supported at intervals not exceeding 6 feet. NEC section 392.13 requires cables and cable trays to be secured in place using straps, ties, or other approved means. By following these requirements, safe and proper installation of fire alarm cable and cable trays for horizontal runs can be ensured. Let's delve into a more detailed explanation of these National Electrical Code, or NEC, sections, discussing each component with technical clarity to ensure full comprehension. Firstly, let's examine NEC section 800.179 subsection B, which pertains to the installation of communication cables. This section of the code provides the allowances for installing certain cable types, explicitly those meeting the requirements of Article 760 within cable trays. The critical stipulation here is that these cables must be listed as fire alarm cables, ensuring their suitability for integration within fire alarm systems. This listing indicates that the cables have undergone rigorous testing and certification to meet specified safety standards for flame resistance, smoke generation, and other relevant factors. The purpose of allowing such installations within cable trays is to facilitate organized and manageable cable routing, particularly in commercial and industrial settings where numerous cables need to be efficiently managed. Cable trays offer a structured pathway, preventing cables from being haphazardly strung across ceilings or floors, reducing the risk of damage, and simplifying maintenance and troubleshooting efforts. Secondly, we must address NEC section 760.160, which outlines the listing requirements for fire alarm cables. This section unequivocally states that fire alarm cables must be listed as either FPL, which stands for Firepower Limited, or FPLP, which designates Firepower Limited plenum rated cables. The listing requirement is paramount because it ensures that the cables possess the necessary fire-resistant properties to perform reliably during a fire emergency. FPL cables are designed for general-purpose fire alarm system wiring, suitable for use in raceways or exposed applications. FPLP cables, on the other hand, are specifically designed for use in plenums, which are air-handling spaces such as above suspended ceilings or within raised floors. Plenum-rated cables are constructed with materials that produce minimal smoke and toxic fumes when burned, thereby mitigating the risk of smoke inhalation and enhancing the safety of occupants during a fire. Understanding this distinction is crucial for selecting the appropriate cable type based on the specific installation environment. Thirdly, consideration must be given to NEC section 392.13, which details the requirements for securing cables within cable trays. This section mandates that cables and cable trays must be securely fastened using straps, ties, or other approved means. The rationale behind this requirement is to prevent cables from shifting, sagging, or becoming entangled within the cable tray, which could lead to damage or impede maintenance activities. Securing the cables also helps maintain proper spacing between them, facilitating heat dissipation and preventing overheating. The code does not prescribe specific types of straps or ties, but it emphasizes the importance of using approved methods that are suitable for the cable type and the environmental conditions. Common methods include using cable ties made of nylon or other durable materials, as well as specialized cable straps designed for use in cable trays. It is imperative to ensure that the securing methods employed do not damage the cables or compromise their insulation integrity. Moving on to address the additional considerations. NEC Section 760.160 stipulates that fire alarm cables must be installed in a manner that minimizes the possibility of damage. This requirement underscores the importance of careful planning and execution during the installation process. Cables should be routed away from potential hazards such as sharp edges, moving equipment, or areas prone to physical impact. Where cables need to pass through walls or floors, appropriate bushings or sleeves should be used to protect them from abrasion. Additionally, adequate strain relief should be provided at termination points to prevent stress on the cable conductors. Regular inspections should be conducted to identify and address any signs of damage such as cuts, abrasions, or exposed conductors. Promptly addressing these issues can help prevent malfunctions and ensure the continued reliability of the fire alarm system. NEC Section 336.10 subsection 2 specifies that cables and cable trays must be supported at intervals not exceeding 6 feet. This requirement aims to prevent excessive sagging or drooping of the cables, which could lead to strain on the conductors and potential damage. The support interval should be measured from the point of attachment to the cable tray to the nearest support structure. The support structures can include hangers, brackets, or other approved means of attachment. It is crucial to use support structures that are capable of withstanding the weight of the cables and any additional loads that may be imposed on them. The support structures should also be corrosion resistant to ensure long-term durability. In summary, ensuring the safe and proper installation of fire alarm cable in cable trays for horizontal runs requires meticulous adherence to the relevant NEC sections. By complying with the listing requirements, securing cables effectively, minimizing the possibility of damage, and providing adequate support, you can uphold the reliability and effectiveness of the fire alarm system, protecting lives and property. It's important to emphasize the significance of consulting with qualified electrical professionals who possess the expertise to interpret and apply the NEC requirements correctly. These professionals can provide valuable guidance in selecting the appropriate cable types, designing the cable tray layout, and ensuring that the installation meets all applicable codes and standards. In addition to the NEC requirements, it's also essential to consider any local code or regulations that may apply to fire alarm system installations. These local codes may impose additional requirements or restrictions that must be followed. Staying informed about these local codes and regulations is crucial for ensuring compliance and avoiding potential penalties. Furthermore, the importance of conducting thorough testing and commissioning of the fire alarm system after installation cannot be overstated. Testing should be performed to verify that all components of the system are functioning correctly and that the system is capable of detecting and responding to fire emergencies effectively. Commissioning involves documenting the system's performance and providing training to the building occupants on how to operate and maintain the system. Regular maintenance should also be performed to ensure that the system remains in optimal working condition. This maintenance should include inspecting the cables, connections, and other components for any signs of wear or damage. Batteries should be tested regularly and replaced as needed. Smoke detectors and other detection devices should be cleaned and calibrated periodically to ensure their accuracy. By following these maintenance practices, you can prolong the lifespan of the fire alarm system and ensure that it continues to provide reliable protection. Let's recap the key points. Firstly, confirm that the cable being installed is indeed listed as either FPL or FPLP, adhering to NEC Section 760.160. If the cable is labeled as FPLR, verify whether this is a typographical error and that the cable meets the specifications for FPL or FPLP. Secondly, ensure that the cable installation complies with NEC Section 800.179 subsection B, which allows the installation of fire alarm cables in cable trays, provided that they meet the requirements of Article 760. Thirdly, secure the cables within the cable tray using straps, ties, or other approved means as mandated by NEC Section 392.13. This will prevent the cables from shifting or becoming damaged. Fourthly, minimize the possibility of damage to the cables by routing them away from potential hazards and providing adequate protection where necessary, as emphasized by NEC section 760.160. Fifthly, support the cables at intervals not exceeding 6 feet, in accordance with NEC section 336.10 subsection 2. This will prevent excessive sagging and strain on the cables. Sixthly, consult with qualified electrical professionals to ensure that the installation meets all applicable codes and standards. Their expertise can help you navigate the complexities of the NEC and ensure a safe and compliant installation. Seventhly, stay informed about any local codes or regulations that may apply to fire alarm system installations. These local codes may impose additional requirements or restrictions that must be followed. Eighthly, conduct thorough testing and commissioning of the fire alarm system after installation to verify that all components are functioning correctly. Ninthly, provide training to the building occupants on how to operate and maintain the fire alarm system. This will ensure that they are prepared to respond appropriately in the event of a fire emergency. Tenthly, perform regular maintenance on the fire alarm system to ensure that it remains in optimal working condition. This maintenance should include inspecting the cables, connections, and other components for any signs of wear or damage. By following these guidelines, you can ensure the safe and proper installation of fire alarm cable in cable trays for horizontal runs, safeguarding lives and property. The NEC serves as a comprehensive guide for electrical installations, and adherence to its requirements is paramount for ensuring safety and compliance. Fire alarm systems play a critical role in protecting buildings and their occupants from the dangers of fire, and proper installation is essential for their effectiveness. The information provided is intended for informational purposes only and should not be considered as a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with qualified electrical professionals to ensure that your installations meet all applicable codes and standards.